My name is Emily, and I'm 36 now. I used to teach high school English in Seattle, Washington. From the outside, my life looked picture perfect. A cozy house in a peaceful suburb, a career that meant everything to me, and a husband who appeared to be the ideal partner. We had been married just over 2 years when I reached the 6-month mark of my pregnancy with our first child. A little girl we were already calling our greatest blessing. What nobody realized, what I refused to admit even to myself until it was nearly too late, was that the man I had vowed to love forever hid a darkness so vicious it almost took both our lives. The afternoon his mother flew in to help with baby preparations was meant to be ordinary. Instead, it turned into the day I discovered the person I shared my bed with was capable of unimaginable cruelty, and that his mother had spent decades grooming him to believe it was his right. What unfolded in my own home, while my belly was round and full of life, still wakes me up at night. But what a nurse whispered in that hospital room, what made my husband go completely white and motionless, is the reason my daughter and I are alive today. Before I walk you through every terrifying detail, before I describe the moment his hands struck my pregnant body, the blood, the panic, the fear that I was losing my baby, I need you to do 3 quick things for me. Smash that like button right now. Subscribe to this channel and turn on notifications. Then drop a comment telling me what city you're watching from and what time it is there. Because what I'm about to share isn't just my nightmare, it's a warning every woman needs to hear. Trust me, you'll want to stay until the very last second, because the twist at the end, no one ever sees it coming. Let me start at the very beginning, before the mask completely slipped. 3 years earlier, I met Alex at an education conference. He was confident, successful, a finance manager who earned well and swept me off my feet with attention that felt like a fairy tale. I was 33, watching friends build families, and Alex seemed like everything I'd prayed for. At 39, he was established, talked openly about wanting marriage and kids, and within 8 months he proposed. 4 months later, we were married. Everyone teased us for rushing, but it felt like destiny. Looking back, I see how naive I was. The first year felt solid, at least that's what I told myself. Alex always needed to know my schedule, who I was texting, where I was at every moment. If I didn't reply instantly, the phone calls started. If I missed those, he'd appear at my school just checking I was okay. Friends called it romantic. My mom said I'd finally found a man who truly cared. I buried the tightness in my chest that whispered this wasn't normal. I convinced myself I was the luckiest woman alive. Then there was his mother, Linda. From day one, she treated me like an intruder. At the wedding, she nitpicked everything, the dress, the cake, my makeup. She made little digs about my job, my figure, my ordinary family. Alex brushed it off. That's just mom. She's protective because dad died when I was little. She sacrificed everything for me. I swallowed every insult, determined to be the perfect daughter-in-law. She never softened an inch. When I discovered I was pregnant after months of trying, pure happiness flooded me. Alex seemed thrilled at first, told the whole world, posted ultrasound pictures, talked nonstop about becoming a dad. But as my body changed, so did he. He started criticizing how much I ate, how big I was getting, warned me not to let myself go. Exhaustion from teaching and growing a human earned eye rolls and comments that I was lazy. The affection turned into constant monitoring, like a rope slowly tightening around my throat. By 6 months, I was tiptoeing through my own house, teaching all day, coming home drained, yet expected to keep everything spotless, cook gourmet dinners, and anticipate his every mood. I did it because any complaint triggered cold silence or explosive anger, and I told myself keeping him calm was the safest thing for the baby. Deep down, I knew no amount of perfection would ever satisfy him. The rage was just waiting for permission. That permission arrived when Linda announced she was staying with us for a week to get the baby things ready. Every fiber in me screamed no, but Alex insisted I should be grateful for her experience. So I scrubbed the house top to bottom, stocked her favorite snacks, fluffed the guest room pillows, anything to avoid conflict. She landed on a Tuesday afternoon. I'd taken the afternoon off to greet her. The second she stepped inside, the complaints began. The temperature was wrong, the towels weren't folded right, dinner wasn't what she felt like eating. I smiled until my face hurt. Alex sat silently or agreed with her. 3 days of hell followed. She rearranged my kitchen cabinets, tossed out half my spices, rifled through my maternity wardrobe declaring I looked sloppy, and finally marched into the nursery and gutted everything I had lovingly arranged, moving furniture, swapping out my decorations for faded relics from Alex's own baby years. Thursday evening, I came home from work and found her in there, hanging dusty old teddy bears above the crib I'd painted myself. My little girl gave a hard kick, like she felt my heart break. I stood in the doorway, tears stinging, and somehow found my voice. Calmly, politely, I said, "Linda, I really appreciate you wanting to help, but I had everything exactly how I dreamed it would be for my daughter. Can we please move it back?" She spun around like I'd cursed her face twisted with disgust. "I raised a child successfully while you clearly have no clue. You should be thanking me." Something inside me finally cracked. After days of humiliation, after years of biting my tongue, I said a little firmer, "This is my baby's room. I'm her mom, and I need it the way I set it up. Please don't touch my things without asking." It was the tiniest boundary I'd ever set. To Linda, it was war. She started screaming, actual screaming, that I was ungrateful, entitled, that Alex never should have married me, that I was a lazy failure who didn't deserve her son. The insults rained down while I stood there, hand cradling my belly, tears rolling. That's when Alex walked in. Relief flooded me. Finally, he'd see her for who she was and defend me. He took in the scene, his mother furious, me shaking and crying, and I waited for him to comfort me. Instead, Linda launched into a tearful, completely distorted version. That I had shouted at her, insulted her parenting, been rude all week. Alex never asked for my side. His expression darkened, fists clenched, and he turned on me with a look that turned my blood to ice. "How dare you speak to my mother like that after everything she's done?" His voice was low, lethal. I tried to explain. He cut me off, called me a vile name no husband should ever use, and stepped toward me. I backed up instinctively. Linda watched with a sick little smile. He grabbed my arm so hard I gasped. "Apologize now. Alex, you're hurting me, please let go." He squeezed tighter. I cried out, and then he shoved me. I flew backward, desperately trying to twist so I wouldn't land on my stomach. I hit the floor hard on my side, arms wrapped around my bump. The air left my lungs. Before I could scramble up, he was over me, screaming words I can barely remember. His foot slammed into my back. Pain exploded. I curled into a ball, begging, "The baby, please think of the baby." He kicked again. Then fists rained down on my shoulders, arms, anywhere he could reach without hitting my belly directly. I screamed for my daughter's life. It felt endless, but suddenly he stopped, breathing like an animal. Linda's voice floated in, calm and satisfied. She needed to learn respect. I felt the warm rush between my legs, blood, so much blood, terror like I'd never known ripped through me. I screamed that I was bleeding, that we had to call 911. Alex's rage vanished, replaced by panic. He knelt, reaching for me. I flinched away in horror. My neighbor, an older woman next door, had heard everything and dialed emergency. Sirens came fast. Paramedics burst in, saw the blood, saw the bruises blooming on my skin, and moved with urgent care. Alex played the devastated husband, holding my hand, the same hand he'd just crushed, and lied that I'd tripped and fallen. I was too terrified for my baby to correct him. In the ambulance, I kept begging them to tell me if her heartbeat was still there. They stayed calm but wouldn't give a clear answer, which told me everything. I was contracting at only 6 months. My body was trying to deliver a baby who couldn't survive outside me yet. At the ER, they rushed me in, monitors beeping, doctors firing questions. Alex hovered in the corner, eyes warning me to keep quiet. I repeated the fall story, voice shaking. Our girl's heartbeat was there, weak, irregular, but there. Bleeding continued. Contractions kept coming. They pumped medication to stop labor, praying it wasn't too late. Then Nurse Amanda walked in, mid-40s, kind but commanding eyes. She asked routine questions, then gently requested I lift my shirt so she could document injuries. When she saw the finger-shaped bruises on my arm and the boot print patterns on my back, she inhaled sharply. She looked at Alex, then back at me, and spoke in a steady, professional tone that carried absolute authority. "Sir, you should know that in this hospital, any visible injuries on a pregnant patient, especially injuries that look like blunt force trauma, are photographed immediately. Those photos are automatically uploaded to a secure system that alerts both hospital administration and local law enforcement. It's mandatory reporting. The process has already started. There's no way to pause or delete it, just so you're fully aware. The room froze. I watched the blood drain from Alex's face. His eyes widened, mouth slack. He looked like someone had hit pause on his entire body. He understood instantly. He was caught, evidence existed, authorities were already involved, and nothing he said now could stop it. Amanda turned to me softly. "Ma'am, these marks, the grip bruises, the distribution on your torso, don't match a simple trip and fall. I've worked trauma for almost 20 years. I need you to tell me what really happened, because your life and your baby's life depend on the truth." I glanced at Alex. He was staring daggers, silently ordering me to lie. But Amanda had just handed me freedom on a silver platter. She'd terrified him into powerlessness without raising her voice. She continued gently, "Actually, I need some supplies. Sir, hospital policy requires complete privacy during certain portions of a pregnant patient's exam. There's a waiting area down the hall. Security will show you." It wasn't policy. She was brilliantly removing him, and he knew it. But after her warning about the photos, he couldn't refuse without looking guilty. He shot me one last threatening look and walked out. The door clicked shut, and I shattered. Amanda took my hand. "You're safe now. Did he do this?" I could only nod through sobs. She squeezed my hand. "Okay, I'm calling security so he can't return, then police and our domestic violence advocate. We're going to take care of both of you." She moved fast, security posted outside, police en route, advocate on the way. She photographed every mark with gentle apologies when it hurt. While she worked, I poured out 2 years of control, criticism, fear, and finally today's attack. She listened without judgment and said the words I needed most. "None of this is your fault. Abusers are skilled liars. You're not stupid, you're human, and now he's going to face consequences." The police took my full statement with Amanda by my side. They arrested Alex in the waiting room. His own mother, trying to slip away, ended up admitting to officers that he'd lost his temper, but I deserved it for being disrespectful. Her justification became evidence of years of enabling. The medical team stopped my labor. Bleeding slowed, then ceased. Our daughter stabilized. After 72 hours of monitoring, they sent me home on strict bed rest, with my parents, not him. A permanent restraining order was granted that week. Alex eventually pled guilty to felony assault on a pregnant woman and served just over 3 years. It will never feel like enough, but it gave us safety. My parents moved me out of that house the day I was discharged. I never stepped foot in that nursery again. 3 months later, our beautiful daughter Ava was born by planned C-section. Healthy, screaming, perfect. The moment they laid her on my chest, I cried harder than I ever have. For joy, for relief, for the rage that her father tried to murder her before she took her first breath, and for gratitude that we made it. Recovery was brutal physically, emotionally, legally. Nightmares, panic attacks, PTSD, depression. Therapy twice a week, support groups, antidepressants, endless appointments. But Ava needed me, so I kept going. One day at a time. I finalized the divorce, sold the house, went back to teaching when Ava was 7 months old. My school wrapped me in support. Slowly, the good days outnumbered the bad ones. Barbara tried for grandparent visitation and lost spectacularly when her police statement was read in court. I've never heard from her again. Alex got out when Ava was almost 3. The fear came roaring back, but the restraining order held. He moved states, never attempted contact. We were finally truly free. Today Ava is 4.5, bright, hilarious, fearless. She doesn't know her father's name yet. When the questions come, I'll answer honestly and age-appropriately. She'll grow up knowing love should never hurt. I speak now, at shelters, hospitals, schools, sharing what the red flags look like, how abuse escalates in pregnancy, how one clever nurse can change everything. Every time another woman whispers, "Thank you, I'm leaving tonight," the pain feels worth reliving. And to the nurse who saved us, "Lisa, you exaggerated just enough to terrify my abuser into silence and give me the courage to speak. You are my hero. Because of you, my daughter knows bedtime stories instead of violence. If you're watching this and you're scared, isolated, making excuses for bruises, please hear me. It is not your fault. You cannot fix him. You deserve safety. Your babies deserve peace. Help exists 24/7. In the US, call or text 1-800 to 799 to 7233 or text start to 88,788. You do not have to figure it all out today, just take the first step. And if you know someone who flinches at loud voices, who always walks into doors, who can't make plans without checking with him, reach out privately, believe her, offer practical help. You might be the person who saves a life. We made it to the other side. Ava and I are living proof that survival is possible, that joy comes back, that love can be safe again. You are stronger than you know. There is hope. There is an entire life waiting for you on the other side of fear. Please hit like, subscribe, and comment where you're watching from. Share this video. Somewhere right now a woman needs to hear she's not alone. Your share could be the lifeline she's praying for. Thank you for listening. Stay safe. And if you need help, reach out today. You are worth saving.